Hello and welcome to Colors Town Hall live chat show. I am Ziaul Karim. The global COVID-19 pandemic has radically impacted almost every aspect of life and living on the planet. There isn't a single business worldwide that hasn't felt the virus's jolt, with calamitous result for millions, and art is no exception. The art industry that has become synonymous with hyperconnectedness and global mobility is now at a standstill. The art market that is literally idling. The places where we experience art, from leading museums to the tiniest gallery spaces, are suddenly out of bounds. Many galleries are likely to go out of business. Artists are likely to lose livelihoods. In a recent article by celebrated art critic Jerry Salz is writing that the last in his article titled "The Last Days of the World Art," which is an apocalyptic picture of the art industry. Uh, Today we have been joined by three dynamic, innovative, and internationally recognized Bangladeshi art patron, collector, organizers to discuss the art scene during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me welcome Durjoy Rahman, founder of Durjoy Foundation, Rajeeb Samdani, founder of Samdani Art Foundation, and Nadia Samdani, president and co-founder of Samdani Art Foundation. Welcome you all to the Town Hall live chat show. Let me begin with Durjoy. Uh, do you think the picture that has been portrayed by Jerry Salz is the art scene that grim? Are we heading towards an apocalyptic art scene? What's your comment?
Actually, thank you, Zia Bhai, for welcoming us to your show. And we are actually crossing very unprecedented time, and it is very difficult to predict what is coming ahead of us. But and we are hoping for the best. But with considering all other scenarios that is happening at this moment, I think that we are going to be crossing a crisis time, but it is going to be probably a short term. But I am actually not able to tell you right now. Otherwise, everybody is doing their brainstorming, and so many researchers what will be the post-COVID scenario or what we are currently. So it is time will say what is going to happen to the art scene ahead of us.
Let me forward the question to Rajiv and Nadia. Are we heading for a crisis in the art market, or the as we know the art world is very connected. The experiencing art is you have to experience it physically. That is not going to happen very soon. So how the as a leading organizer, how you're perceiving, how you're recalibrating with the change scenario? Rajiv,
Thank
Nadia would
you.
like to respond.
Okay. Thank you. We're very pleased to be here, and thank you for inviting us to be part of your show. I think this pandemic that is here, I think nobody in this world and could think of something like coming across a pandemic during our lifetime. And it is very, very situation, and we're not in it alone. It's all over the world. Everybody's in it together. Not just the art world. It's every single business. Everybody is being affected. So since this is such an uncertain time and it's so unpredictable, we don't know when this will be over, when there will be a cure, how we can move about. But what I see from now, what I am seeing from around the world. And what we are trying to do is we're trying to come up with alternative platforms. I mean, of course, we all love art, we appreciate art, we want to go to museums, a physical presence. Being in front of art by a physical presence is it's the experience, you enjoy it, whether it's performance art, whether it's video art, whether it's sound art. These are some things we have to experience in person. But I think now where everybody around the world, especially museums and institutions, they're trying to work out a way how we can uh, get ready for the new world, which will be the new world. So where everybody is trying alternative platforms.
And I'll just add with Nadia, and first of all, thank you, Zia bhai, thank you for having us. So I'll just talk about the market a little bit. So I was actually talking to also a few of my galleries friends around the globe. So though, like, of course, we are all going through a difficult time, but actually the Western galleries are doing pretty well. I myself was also really surprised, but of course the situation in South Asia is a bit different. But as I said that, so I was talking to the one of the close friend from the auction house from Christie's, and so she was also telling me that see, obviously in our part of the world, when we consider art, it is more to do with passion. We don't consider art as an asset class, but in the Western world, it is actually a bit different. And due to this pandemic, when the bond, stock market, everything is down, so a lot of people are also switching portfolios. So some of the investments are also coming to art. The auction houses are also like doing private sales. Also, they're doing auctions, and the galleries are also through a virtual gallery. They're doing sales. So so it is actually a bit too different kind of scenario. If you think about South Asia, yes, it is slow, but if you think about China or especially the Western world, art market is actually doing pretty well.
I was reading a report that Art Basel Hong Kong they have went virtual,
Yes.
and then the Court Lord Gallery, they have reported an astonishing 723% spike in visitors only in March. So things are happening. I'd like to ask Nadia that you have recently launched Art Around the Table, which is directly a COVID-19 response program. Would you please elaborate about the project?
Yes, so we launched Art Around the Table 2 weeks ago, and it is a program where, for example, Samdani Art Foundation and Hak Art Summit, we've been working for the last 10 years very actively. And Hak Art Summit, our event, is all about people. It's all about bringing great minds and thinkers and collectors, artists, curators from all over the world together and to create this and for this platform. It's like a big festival. So we just finished our Dhaka Art Summit in February, and I think this is actually the last major art event of 2020. And our Dhaka Art Summit is all about the people. This time we had almost about 500,000 people in Dhaka at the Dhaka Art Summit, and we had over 700 international visitors. So our team is always active and trying to work and come up with ideas. So we were thinking that how can we, because right now we want to work with artists, but we also want to support our community and the Bangladeshi community during this COVID time. So we partnered with Jago Foundation, and we came up with this program called Art Around the Table. So we've reached out to a lot of artists, curators, scientists, professors, all kinds of people that we've worked with over the last 10 years. And they have generously are supporting our workshop, whereas they will do a workshop or whether it's a talk or whether it really depends on the artist or who is contributing with us. And their honorarium, the amount of honorarium they're supposed to get, they're donating to Jago Foundation to feed the community of Bangladesh. So we've been launching, and these workshops are these small workshops, they're small videos, and they're for everybody. So it's not just targeted for artists or the art community, but for example, during this quarantine, we're all home with our families. So little workshops you can do at home. They're simple, they're nice. It makes you think. So this is the program we've launched, and we're in the process of doing a few more events. I mean, online programs. And
Thank you.
also another.
Yes, I'd like to go to Durjoy. Um, Nadia has talked about collaborative project, art around the table. The Royal Academy has recently launched a program where they are targeting non-artists, basically inviting them to doing projects, and they are amateur artists. Um, as a COVID response, Durjoy, from your foundation, you have initiated a project called Bhumi, and which is an initiative to reach out to marginalized people uh, and help out the marginalized people during the COVID pandemic. So, what was exactly the program that you are initiating, and how Bhumi is reaching out to marginalized people?
Bhumi actually planned people.
Durjoy is offline now, so we'll get back to Durjoy. Let me come to the Samdani couple. Rajeeb, uh, uh, in 2021, the Srihattu project, which is your dream project, the art center and sculpture park, uh, do you think you will be on schedule to inaugurate the project?
So we hope that we will be able to, but there will be few changes because the area is quite big. It's 105 acres land, and in this project we also have separate space for artist residency. We also have independent pavilions. So we hope the portion of the project will go live. Hopefully, by end of this year, we hope that if things normalize a bit, then a portion of the project we will be able to open next year. But one of the challenges is that we have several commissions that is done by artists from around the world, and for that, they actually need to visit the site, they need to stay in the site, they need to work. So those are going to be a bit delayed, I guess, because considering the current situation. But we are still on the target to open it by 2021.
Okay, Durjoy is live again. Durjoy, you were talking about Bhumi as Bhumi initiative. Please elaborate about the project. Can't hear you. We don't have the audio. Okay, let me get back to Rajiv again. As we all know that the aviation industry is being impacted, uh, and one of the beauty of art events is the presence of people, the crowd. That's basically is the charm of the event. Uh, so 2022, when the next episode of um Art Summit happening, do you think that this is going to change in character and fashion the way that it has been happening uh, so far?
See,
Is it going to change?
yeah, from my side, actually, Dhaka Art Summit, it's a public event. It's all about people. So we cannot even think about it without like having this crazy crowd. Because see, one thing about Dhaka Art Summit, or which we we also, it's not only that, we have huge number of visitors who are coming from all over, but it is also like, the event belongs to people of Bangladesh. So this is a meeting point for everyone. And one thing we are known for is our crazy number of visitors. So minus that, we cannot even think about it. So we don't know whether in 2022 February, whether we will be able to host Dhaka Art Summit, but we are hopeful, inshallah, if the situation normalizes and things get better, definitely we are going to do this. But Dhaka Art Summit will happen, inshallah, whether 2022 beginning or end, I don't know. But the event has its own characteristic, and we are going to keep it that way. It's not that like something like this, we will just switch to a digital platform or do something like that. So we are just hoping that we will have the situation will become normal and we will be able to do it the way we always do.
Okay. Durjoy is now being reconnected. Durjoy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Very much.
Okay.
So would you please explain, talk about Bhumi project?
Well, can you hear me now, right?
Yes, please.
So Bhumi project started with actually these people from the northern part of Bangladesh. And the idea was actually generated by an artist who is Kamrujaman Shadhin, who has participated last art residency, Maji Art Residency, which is hosted by us. And it was planned by Salma Jamal Moushum. So they actually planned this project, and then Durjoy Bangladesh Foundation has given the logistics and the financial support to help the four marginal community in Thakurgaon area. The communities are the Rajbongshi, Shautal, Jogi, and the Tati community. So due to COVID, they have suffered financially because there was no Pohela Boishak, there was no Ramadan. So we got together, the Giri Bauli Foundation and Durjoy Bangladesh Foundation. We thought that we're going to pick up 60 marginal families, and we're going to provide them 5 months, which is covering 250 people. So, and they are basically artisan. So we're going to cover them with their daily necessities. And meanwhile, they're going to continue with their artistic activities, from land art to making textile sculptures, bamboo sculptures, and other creative activities, which is going to continue for 5-month period. And then we're going to support, meanwhile, their daily necessities. So in this crisis time, they are not only getting the necessity livelihood support, but also the creative support that they need, which is also essential. When an artisan doesn't only need daily support, they want to practice their daily activities. So this is a reason we got together and we planned this Bhumi project. And Bhumi is not the only project that Durjoy Bangladesh Foundation has initiated. We have taken another project we call Hope for the Future of the Hope. So this is again with artisan, but Bhumi is right now in full swing, and we are going to get some results in a few months' time. And we are very happy that in this crisis time that we could collaborate with artisan, but they are not conventional artists. So, and they are very happy with this support, which is very essential in this pandemic.
Durjoy, you started the foundation in 2018. What was the idea behind initiating the foundation? And as there are in publication that this is established on artist to art-led foundation. Basically, what do you mean by artist to art-led foundation? And what you are trying to achieve through this foundation?
Actually, I've been collecting. Everybody knows that I've been collecting for a long time. It's 20 plus years. And back in 2018, it has given me a thought that I should make a platform where I could support artists, art professionals, art practitioners, and art scholars to join together and make them a language that would support and promote art from Southeast Asia, especially from Bangladesh and beyond. And being the reason, it's a good question that you mentioned that what is meaning by artist-led? Because I am just a collector and I'm an art enthusiast. But when you need to do deep into research and some program, you need to have artists and the creative people around. So we taken on board different artists and art scholar and art practitioners and the thinkers to join in our program, and so that they could run the program on behalf of the foundation. And Durjoy Bangladesh and myself is going to support them the platform, which is the foundation's financial and logistic support. And those art scholars and those art practitioners are the artists who's going to be leading these programs and going to promote art from South Asia, especially from Bangladesh, to the international context. So that is why there's a term called artist-led foundation. And 2018, I thought that it is a time for me to think of to having the own platform instead of only collecting art.
Rajeeb, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Your experience of Dhaka Art Summit, it's been 8 years now. How do you look at Art Summit now in 2020, looking back that you have had 8 successful years in your repertoire? And what is your take how the South Asian art has evolved in the last 8 years, and how Dhaka Art Summit as a great platform is staging this contemporary South Asian art. So, Nadia would like to take yes, fine, no problem.
Dhaka Summit actually is the single largest platform for South Asian art. And basically, when we started, actually, I think the South Asian art has been through a revolution in last 10 years. So 2012 was the beginning of Dhaka Art Summit, beginning of Kochi Biennale in India. And then after that, Lahore and Karachi Biennale also started. Even museum like Tate also, Tate was the first actually South Asian, international Western museum to look at South Asian art so seriously. So many things has happened in last 10 years. So I think we were at the right time, we were in the right position to host the right event, because there were lot of interest about art from our region, but there were very little presence. And basically, if you compare South Asia versus the rest of the world, actually, sadly, our art infrastructure is not developed compared to rest of the world, especially in South Asia. India, they have a great gallery structure, but compared to that, like other countries in South Asia, actually, that we don't have that much gallery representing artists, taking the artists to the fairs. So when we first started the foundation, Nadia and I, our main idea was to support the artists to participate in different international events. This is how we started it. But then we realized that, how many artists actually can we support in a year or two? So we wanted to create an event. That event will bring people from all over the world. And we also promised all our visitors that we are going to give you breath of fresh air. You come to our region, you discover a lot of new artists. So I think, over a period of time, lot of things have changed. There are so many exhibitions from Dhaka Art Summit has traveled. So many actually artists from South Asia, also from Bangladesh, are also in the collection of very important museums around the world. So I think, it has been an amazing journey. And I think there are a lot of interest about Bangladesh now. Bangladeshi artists are producing amazing artwork. They're going to places Bangladeshi artists are being included in documenta to other important biennales, museum exhibitions. So I think it was an amazing journey that what we have seen in last 10 years. A lot of things have changed. So yeah, so I think moving forward, as I said that before that, we want to continue, and this is a great platform. And when we talk about Dhaka Art Summit, as I said, that we say that it is a breath of fresh air. You come here, you discover artists. So that's why not only we have collectors, we also have dealers, uh, curators from around the world. They always visit, scholars around the world. They always visit Dhaka Art Summit. And
Uh,
another thing, just to add with that another important aspect of Dhaka Art Summit is also education. So
mhm.
we always focus, we always run different programs parallel to Dhaka Art Summit exhibition. There are different lectures, there are different talks. This time we have also partnered with the Getty Foundation and Cornell University. So that is also another very important focus of Dhaka Art Summit. Yeah.
Mhm. So, is this a kind of very conscious effort to basically intellectually establish South Asian art?
Yes, it is definitely a conscious effort because I think if I go back when Rajeeb and I started first, I mean, before the foundation, we started collecting. And collecting, we were traveling everywhere. We were going to exhibitions, museum shows, biennales, documenta, all over the world. And what we saw is we hardly saw the presence of Bangladesh. It was almost, I mean, the presence of Bangladesh was almost like zero. And that's how we took the decision that, we have so many talented artists in Bangladesh. We have amazing artists, and we should create a platform to to show these artists where the world will come to us and see and discover our artists. So I think now, I mean, we've had like 5 successful editions of Dhaka Art Summit, and now when we're traveling, when we go to biennales, exhibitions, like Rajeev said, now our artists are in major exhibitions around the world, in museums. Museums are looking at us now. They are looking at Bangladeshi artists to seriously collect. So I think, I mean, it has been a success, and it's really been a wonderful journey.
So there has been a palpable sea change in the attitude towards South Asian art.
Absolutely. I think what we needed in Bangladesh, what we need, I mean, we have so many talented artists. What we needed was a platform. We work as, what we needed a platform, we needed everybody to see our artists. That's how this event, when we started off, I mean, of course, we started off as an experiment. Just let's see what happens. We didn't realize at the beginning that it would turn out, like 5 editions later, it would turn out to be one of the major art events, and it's like listed everywhere now. The important art events around the world, and Dhaka Art Summit has become one of the important art events around the world, and it's also become a must visit, according to a lot of international press. So I think it's it's been a great journey.
Mhm. Durjoy, you have been collecting art over 2 decades now. You have not only collected Bangladeshi arts, South Asian. Um, you have in your collection leading South Asian artists. You have in your collection major Western artists as well. Um, how do you see that the art market evolved over the last decade or so? And in tandem, how uh, the perspective towards art has changed in the past 2 decades.
Art market, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Art market actually has evolved dramatically in the past 2 decades. And it is because of now of the presence of electronic and social media's adaptability to all level. So what was not possible 20 years ago is now possible after 20 years. So what happens or what is being created right now in, say, in any corners of the world, and who are the art enthusiasts or art collectors or galleries, they can really tab those information and they can pick up the talents and they can pick up the new things. So that has impacted, of course, the art market. Art market is as any other market. But well, I don't think personally, I don't think art is an investment, though because I'm from Bangladesh, but as Rajeeb said, that in Western world, it has been considered as an investment. But I always tell my peers or friends that if you have an eye to pick up the right thing, it will definitely a good investment, no matter it's an art or it is any other object. So art is not an exception. So art market, when in terms of a good creation or a good work, it has really seen a big jump. What was the price index in 2000? In this 20 years, that in this 20 years, the art index price has folded, probably jumped 700 to 800 times. So art market has seen a big change, but in that perspective, I would say that market has also brought a lot of negativity. Like people now really think of a lot of people and a lot of artists think about the market, the adaptability of the market or the concept of the market. So that has, I think, impacted creativity kind of in some kind of a negative way. But well, it is a market demands everything, and demand dictates everything. So that way, I would say that art market change has very much encouragement in this field, but I would not think about being a collector, will always not think about the market all the time. I would think about the quality and the artist career and the artist struggle to produce that work. So market will definitely going to be in an upward trend considering this current pandemic situation. But these will definitely move on. And what is now in 2020, probably 20 years from now, it is going to be another success story.
It is called that this is a pivotal time, and we are soon going to talk in terms of pre and post COVID world. Uh, this is what I'd like to ask Rajiv particularly, that you have running a very successful art event, Dhaka Art Summit, and Art Summit has drawn a lot of interest, and it has turned the Western focus of attention towards Bangladesh. Great success for Bangladesh. Bangladesh now prominently in the global art map. But what I'd like to know from you is that Dhaka was once a place where there are a lot of galleries, maybe very tiny speck of galleries, but there were galleries. But we see that Dhaka is now denuded, kind of. There is no galleries to go to except your event, which is a great event. But do you think the time has come to build an ecosystem uh, to make art scene more vibrant for Bangladesh?
100%. Basically, see where actually Bangladesh we are suffering now. We actually need good galleries. End of the day, the galleries, as I said, that everywhere else, the galleries actually represent the artists. They promote the artists. They go to the art fairs. They show the artists. So that is actually a common thing everywhere else. In case of Bangladesh, actually, in case of our artists, you are sort of by your own. So that is the most challenging thing, in Bangladesh right now, and especially we have got so many talented young emerging artists. They just need that little bit of support. And art market is definitely important because artists, they will also have to leave, they will have to do their practice. So that is what actually missing in Bangladesh. That is what, and we hope that people will set up good commercial galleries. The galleries, they are going to represent Bangladeshi artists. They are going to show those artists around the world. That is actually something very important, because without this, this is extremely challenging. Right now, I know there are quite a few Bangladeshi artists who are successful, who are in the collection of different museums, or like showing in different biennales and all. They are actually being represented by galleries from India and from other places. And these artists, so I think this is something what is actually totally missing now in Bangladesh, that we need a gallery, and that those galleries need to represent these artists, not like just have a space where you have like group exhibition on and off. Like you need a real gallery where they're going to represent artists, where they're going to take care of the artists, where they're going to promote this artist. So that is extremely important. Without this, it will be very difficult. And whatever success we got, actually this success actually came through galleries from outside Bangladesh, not from Bangladesh.
So there is a vacuum here. I'd like to take this question to Durjoy. Durjoy, you are a very avid collector. You have the largest collection of Rafiqun Nabi in Bangladesh. You have possibly the largest collection of Bangladeshi artists, and Durjoy Foundation has office in Bangladesh and Germany. How you are taking this initiative, and how Germany and Bangladesh can basically collect and promote Bangladeshi art?
Well, I'm just referring to what Rajeeb was saying, that there is a scarcity, or I would say the lacking of proper galleries in Bangladesh. So I always think that if you have good players, but if you don't have a right field to play, then the players are useless. Players cannot show their skills. So galleries is actually a very essential part for showing artist work, artist skill, artist practices. So that is gradually reducing in Dhaka, and there are many reasons to be attributed towards that. It's not that only that why galleries are closing, so that's a completely or a different subject. But when in 2018, when I decided to have the foundation set up, I also felt that Bangladesh artist has a lot of talents, and we need to exhibit them to the international community. We have 180 million people, but our skills and our adaptability and our talents has to be not only shown in our 55,000 square miles. It is world is a big place, so world should be their oyster. So I was looking for the right city to launch my initiative, and then I've been a frequent visitor to North America and Europe, and then we picked up Berlin because it has a history and a connection that connect Asia and Europe very closely historically. So I try to think that Germany would be I would say Berlin would be the right place to set up a South Asian foundation, which will make the bridge between Bangladesh and Europe. And that is why when we set up a foundation in Germany, we were invited by the museums, and we encouraged them that, well, it is a foundation that is a South Asian foundation, and we should encourage art from South Asia. So we worked with the museums and we tried to exhibit Asian artists. And then with that same token, in early 2019, we have initiated our Maji International Art Residency. And there we have taken the Bangladeshi artists to Europe in Venice during the 58th Asian Art Biennale to show them that what the international artist scenario is. So that is why I think that setting up a foundation in Europe has been played a very pivotal role for a new foundation. And I think that way it connects strongly South Asia, especially Bangladesh art, with European art more strongly than having only a foundation that is operating from Bangladesh.
Durjoy, I have another question for you. We all know there is a vacuum where a lot can be done to create an ecosystem for the artists. Yes, we need galleries, we need more curated events, but at the same time, there is an accurate shortage of intellectual input about art activities. We don't really have much publications, scholarly articles about contemporary Bangladeshi art, and also Bangladesh art scene. Do you have any plan to intervene in the area of intellectual contribution, intellectually representing Bangladesh?
It is publication is, of course, is a very important topic. And if you see that I was listening to a talk earlier today. It was a recorded talk that happened last night. It is by architect N.R. Khan. And he was saying to his counterpart in Pakistan that what happened in Germany and what happened in the US, because they were originally the introducer of press. So they have all those good publications, so that what was produced at that time in Germany or in America, because they were the one who has published it. So publications has been a very important factor for the progress of any creativity. Either it is architecture or it is music or it is art. So Bangladesh is really lacking in that area because we do not have right practicing scholars that would write about Bangladesh art. Well, we have probably one of the best universities in Bangladesh, and there are a lot of scholars, but those scholars, except few, I'm sure you know, other than you, there are only, if you want to ask about art writers or art critics, in this city of 180 million people, you probably cannot number more than 8 or 9 or maybe 10. So I think that art scholars, art criticism, art writing is very important factor. And I have personally looking into this because this is one of the interests that we think that if we don't have a right publication, what do we show it to our next generation, or what do we show it to the world? So as a first step, that we started doing archiving of Durjoy Bangladesh collection. So we have, earlier this year, we have started archiving our collection, and which will be digitized in probably in a 4 to 5 months time, and it will be completely available for public online, so that people and art enthusiasts, art collectors, art scholars can do their research. Because as you just said, that I have and some important collection from some of the important older masters of Bangladesh. So what is the point of keeping it in the storage or keeping in the frame unless it is not available to the public? So with that initiative, Durjoy Bangladesh Foundation has started to digitizing the entire art collection of myself and what my foundation has digitally, and it is going to be completely available to the public, so that this access of information is available. So, and then we will do publications of the young and emerging artists, so that their works can be also shown in a publications form, and it will be probably written or covered by important art scholars from home and abroad. So this way, I think that we should be able to promote Bangladesh art more strongly than in the past.
Nadia, Srihotto, we have had a simple introduction about the project. It is set over 100-acre area of land. So can you please elaborate on the design and the idea perspective of the whole project? What we are going to expect in Srihotto? What are um, uh, the opportunities that will be offered to artists, how you are going to initiate interaction between artists, collaboration between artists, and also collaboration between artists and the viewers, the art enthusiasts. So what is the design of the project, Srihotto?
Thank you. So Srihata, like you said, it's over 100 acres. And the initial design, we've invited architect Kashif Chaudhary, who won the Aga Khan Prize 2 years ago. So he's doing the first phase of construction. So there will be a residency space, there will be an art center, and the entire space will be a sculpture park. So artist residency, as in artists from around the world, our local artists can stay there, work there, have exchanges, and the Samdani, the art center that we're talking about. So over the years, the Samdani Foundation has collected a lot of works, and especially a lot of institution-sized pieces, some from artists from around the world, and especially artists, major works of artists. And for example, I can give you an example. So one artist who's a French artist, her name is Dominique Gonzalez Forrester, and the work is a hologram video wall. And that space itself needs about 80 feet throw for the projector. So it's a huge, huge space that it requires. So the art center will have spaces which will house the Samdani collection, and the park will have sculptures from all over the world from artists. So we have invited, over the last couple of years, we have invited artists from all over the world and to come to Sylhet, to come and see, spend time, and they have given us proposals, and we're working on them. Some projects, like for example, it depends. Some of the projects that we're getting proposals are not necessarily everything is permanent. Some artists want permanent work, some artists want temporary ones, some artists want that it will grow with time. So a lot of projects, and I think it is also a platform how our curators and we are accommodating, that we are giving the artists the liberty to really showcase their talent and to go all out. Like other places in the world, like they can't do certain things or create certain things, for whether it's space, whether it's material, whether it's different kinds of permissions. So we're open to a lot of things. And like I want to give you an example. So an artist who is an Indian artist, and he is designing, his name is Asim Waqif, and he is creating a bamboo forest, which will be like it's called it will be a bamboo flute, where he has done extensive research on bamboos from around the world and also in Bangladesh, and he's planted bamboos in such a way that when the wind blows, it will make sound of a flute. So that project itself, for the bamboos to grow, that project itself will take 5 years for the project to come in full shape, 5 to 10 years maybe. So we're just only 2 years in, so we're still waiting for things like that. So it's a really a space where creative things, and we're also, all the sculptures that will be there are also commission based, because we don't want to, because these are art, we want this place to be a place where people will come and see the works for the first time. Also, again, whatever we do is for free and is for the public. And the Sri Hatta Samdani Sculpture Park and Art Center will be open to the public and free for all. So it will be a destination for people to go and visit. It will be a destination, of course, in Bangladesh and from around the world for people to go and visit.
So the idea is also to create a sanctuary kind of thing, where artists not only will interact with other artists, but also will interact with the nature as well.
Absolutely. And also another thing I wanted to add, so this space, it will be a cultural hub, not necessarily just for art. It could be for food, it could be for music, it could be for architects, fashion, yoga, all kinds of health and wellness. It will be a place where we are open to have all kinds of cultural minds to come together.
Durjoy, let me come back to your Majhi project. It sounds very interesting. So where and how you'd like to take it forward? Majhi has had one successful event so far, I know. What are the future projects that you have in your residency program?
Actually, Majhi Residency Project is a project that is a 10 years project that Durjoy Bangladesh Foundation has initiated. So we plan to, from the name, you could understand that Majhi means the boatman. So it will travel from city to city. So primarily our main objective is to keep it in Europe. So different European city. We started with Venice. And this year we have a plan to host it in Berlin. And because of the pandemic, we are still kind of skeptical about the participation. But well, I thought that it is going to be a good way that despite all these crises and all these cancellations, if we can make it happen, because there is nothing practically happening in the art world because of a lot of social distancing and other kind of budgetary factors. So this year, we still have plans to host it in Berlin. And we're going to, again, it's going to be a mix of artists from Polynesian, North American, and South Asian artists. And because it gives them, the reason it is planned and it is orchestrated like that, that the artist from Asia is going to go to Europe and they're going to work together and they're going to understand each other's practice, each other's experience. And I would think that this is a kind of a transfer of, as you said, the eco thought process while they stay together. And normally, this residency plan is between.
Durjoy, any particular reason to keep it in Europe?
Well, because the reason is, well, the foundation started in Berlin, and that was one of the reasons that we wanted to keep it in Europe, and we want to pick the talents and the emerging artists from Asia to bring them to Europe so that they can understand and work with the European artists and work together and exchange their thought process. So that is why we planned it initially few years to keep it in Europe than in Asia, because Asia, there are a lot of events that is happening with Asian artists, but in Europe there are not many events that is happening with artists from Asia, especially from Bangladesh or Southeast Asia. So that is why we try to keep it in Europe so that it can make a bridge between Europe and Asia, and it's kind of a good cultural exchange, you could say.
Rajeeb, we are almost at the end of our program. So let me have, in a very short way, to your plans about the 2022 Art Summit. How you're thinking about it now that the pandemic has basically forcing us to rethink, redesign everything, get back to our drawing board and replan everything. So is this very early, or you are already thinking of redesigning the next episode of Dhaka Art Summit?
We have a wonderful team, and our team is led by our curator, Diana Campbell. So Diana and her team, they are already working on it. And of course, if you look at all the editions of Dhaka Art Summit, from each edition to each edition, they are different. So of course, we have our plans, and we are already working on Dhaka Art Summit. But now it all depends on the situation of our city, country, traveling. Lot of things are involved. So we are still hopeful. We think that we will be able to do this in 2022 in February, and we are working towards that. And it will be also the way we are already planning it. It will be something amazing, of course, definitely. It will be something new also.
Okay, we are looking forward to that. And the spotlight that is on Art Summit will definitely.
And just one thing I wanted to add, that even from this edition, though Dhaka Art Summit will happen after 2 years, inshallah, a lot of the exhibitions are going to travel in different museums and biennales in 2021 and 2022. So they are not announced yet, so I cannot share, but they will be traveling in US, UK, Canada, in different major museums.
Mm-hmm. So this is a new addition to your initiative. That
our exhibition always travel. Even like one of the exhibition that took place in 2018 is due to open in Thailand. Hopefully in next few months the exhibition is going to open. It has traveled in 4 other museums. So Dhaka Art Summit, actually people think it's an event for 7 days, 9 days, but it is actually an event for 2 years. So the exhibition I'm talking about, that has been traveling for last 2.5 years. And it has got also Bangladeshi, even modern artists like Rashid Chaudhry to Munem Wasif, Joy Debroza, Jolly Appa. So there are many Bangladeshi artists are also part of that exhibition.
So basically the summit is lingering on the memory. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Durjoy, your last thought, how you look at organizing your future events?
We are very hopeful, because but we are trying to be careful because of the current situation that we everybody knows. But we are working with another project which involves 9 artists from these from different corners of the art, which are though diaspora Bangladeshi artists. And then we have some photography exhibition happening in London, and we are proceeding with our Maji Art Residency. So our plans for these 2020 to mid 2021 is still on, provided the government of those countries doesn't have big restrictions about the public gatherings or so on. So let's see how it happens. So post-COVID scenario is still very uncertain. So as we will deal as we come by.
Thank you, Durjoy Rahman. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you,
Thank you for
Rajeeb.
having
Wonderful talking to you. And goodbye. See you to our next episode tomorrow.
me.
Thank you. Thank you, Zia.
Chilo.